Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric and Matt, and this is Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit, your beacon of freedom and the American way of life. Tune in every Mondays for a new episode as we dive into the world of liberty and what makes our country great. Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric and Matt here with Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit. Your home for all things freedom in a world of craziness. And we are finally bringing back the LLP podcast, boys and girls.
Oh, yes. Very excited, man. It's been way too long.
Dude, life has been really crazy. We've had a lot going on. And I know whenever we do our podcast, we're always, kind of like joking around a little bit beforehand and kind of talking about things. And I don't like to do that too much because I like things to be organic when we're doing the show. But at the same time, I always like to catch up with you a bit. And it's just such a great thing. And I know life has been crazy for both of us, and we can talk a little bit about that as we go, of course. But you had an injury.
Yeah, man. I mean, I know we don't talk about too much. We're trying to save it for the podcast, so it works out. Last 2 years have been very crazy. A lot of life changes. I suffered a pretty catastrophic injury on my leg, recovering from that. And that was just, we've been training Jiu-Jitsu a lot. For those that don't know, I opened a Jiu-Jitsu academy in Roswell, Georgia, Alliance Roswell. And, been training hard, 2 times a day, every day. We were getting ready to compete at Worlds and the Pan American Games. And, I was competing at, all the local IBJJF Opens, here in Atlanta, Charlotte, New Orleans, to really get practice to go into these world level events. And man, I was doing so good. I was winning all the tournaments, double golding my division and open division. And one week before Pans, suffered a catastrophic injury on my leg, just a trimallar fracture, broke tibia, fibia, ankle. It was brutal, man. So now I got some screws holding everything together. But I'm back training now. So it's been about 4 or 5 months, going on 5 months now. So getting back to training, I'm able to train on a regular basis now, kind of easing into it, and hopefully we'll make Worlds and Pans next year, man.
It's been a crazy couple of years for me too on that front. I know you and I have always been pretty active, and I've been doing the powerlifting and stuff, and that I recently got on TRT. I know I've made some episodes about this, y'all, talking a little bit about it. We're going to talk a little bit about that because I think it's definitely related to all of the general health and everything of male health, and that actually brings us to our first show sponsor here, and that is Chalk.com. All right. Our country just witnessed Donald Trump overcome political persecution, an assassination attempt, and the entire deep state to retake the presidency with a historical victory. There's one secret ingredient that allowed Trump to do this, and that's testosterone. What most people don't realize is that testosterone makes men willing and eager to take on challenges. Sadly, too many of us have lost our fight, and that's exactly what the globalists want. They want us weak, out of shape, and full of estrogen and microplastics with low T. That's why we're excited to partner with Chalk. Chalk offers a whole line of products formulated to increase your energy, focus, detoxify your body, and clinically studied boost testosterone. Ingredients in the Chalk Male Vitality Stack have been clinically studied to boost free testosterone in 87% in just 21 days. Unlike the gimmicky vegetable pills or powder, you will feel the difference, and they have the clinical studies to back it up. Right now, you can get 25% off of your order for your subscription for life. Just go to Chalk.com and use the promo code LLP. That is Lima Papa. That's 25% off any subscription for life, and you can cancel at any time. Made right here in America, all American customer service. They're standing by to assist you. Check out Chalk and get your vitality rolling again today. What a great sponsor for the show. What a great way to talk about TRT.
Yes. Just testosterone and supplements in general. A great sponsor. They came in at a great time. Yeah. And, I'm a believer in it. I know that you've made a few videos or a video on it. I personally use it myself I'm 41, so I just aged myself, but it definitely helps. I encourage anybody that, is on that side of the age scale to look into it, because it is life changing. And you shouldn't have to go through life, sad or with low energy.
There seems to be a divided consensus on how people feel about TRT and whether or not someone should undergo, TRT or any type of hormonal therapies and things like that. And I get it. There are many people that prefer more of a holistic approach where, okay, you're going to get your diet and exercise together. You're going to eat foods that, don't inhibit production of testosterone, but actually increase the production of testosterone. Heavy compound lifting in the gym it's going to bring your testosterone levels up. You're going to produce more testosterone with heavy compound lifts. I know some people bash power lifters. They say, well, can you run 6-minute mile? Well, may not be able to run a 6-minute mile, but I can, do a 600-pound squat. So those heavy compound lifts, they really do cause the testes to really get into the mode of producing natural testosterone. The issue is when you undergo TRT, your body begins to metabolically sort of shut down the production and your nuts go into atrophy, which is not a problem. It may be a problem if you want to have children or start a family. But I mean, if you're in your 40s, chances are you've probably already done that. And again, I know I've mentioned this in other videos, but I wanted to mention in today's podcast, not only for all of our emboldened listeners and those of you watching on YouTube. By the way, we are on all the different podcast forums all over the place. Make sure you're following us everywhere. Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Obviously, we post over on Iraq Veteran 8888 on the YouTube channel, so you can see this podcast in video form as well. If you want to see our ugly mugs, you can do that as well. So make sure you check that out. But we post these everywhere. But the discussion about TRT, it tends to divide a lot of people. And some people, prefer the more holistic approach. But once you do start it, you kind of have to continue doing it. And there seems to be a big disconnect about the age that people should be at when they start these regimens. Some people say 40's too young, or some people say you shouldn't even get checked until you're in your 50s or your 60s or something like that. But the truth is, and I know I've discussed this in a few other videos, Matt, is that especially if you're in the, public service, if you're, a veteran, if you're law enforcement, even if you're a paramedic or even a doctor or someone who's seen a lot of traumatic events, it could be violence you've been exposed to. It could be death that you've been exposed to. It could be a number of things. Maybe you just witnessed some traumatic events. Those things, when you develop these triggers, the post-traumatic stress syndrome and things like that, it will cause your body to produce less testosterone. So an otherwise healthy young male, 20 years old, 22 years old, you would think would be brimming with testosterone, may actually have low T even in your 20s if you saw some real traumatic things or dealt with some really heavy stuff at a young age. Maybe you saw your mother get abused by your father, or maybe you saw a family member hurt or a bad car wreck. It could be any number of things that would cause a person to get into that mode of sort of a self-destruction, and it can cause a man to shut down.
Well, yeah, I think that is the biggest point of contention amongst a lot of people, is that the age factor. So when is it too young? Because like you said, jumping on any type of, hormone replacement at a younger age does cause some adverse side effects. There's no way around it. All right. You're replacing a naturally producing hormone with a synthetic, for all intents and purposes, a synthetic hormone. When you mention younger, like age 20, 21, 22, it's not uncommon for service members to experience low testosterone because of that, because of the things that they experienced, like overseas. You are taking a kid that went overseas and their adrenaline was spiked for an entire year. You're basically over there for a whole year, at least in the Army. I know Marines did like 6-month tours, but in the Army, we're doing 12-month tours or longer. You're getting spiked with adrenaline every day. Boom, 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 boom. And then you get home and it's nothing. And your body's like, hey, where's this dopamine hit? Where's this high energy, high tempo environment? And it's not there. So now your testosterone's lower. And that's the most common case you see, is you see younger guys that have, 300, 400 like test levels, and they're 22 years old. Those are test levels for like a 50-year-old guy. And And then they have the memory issues, the cognitive issues, energy. So
bad mood.
You really have to go and get that checked. And I know that, we were talking about our sponsor, Chalk. TRT, the actual supplementation of hormones, is only one aspect of it. There's plenty of other ways to try to boost that naturally without going like directly into TRT. There's a lot of natural supplements, a lot of other stuff you can do that'll help with that. And then that kind of last stage is where we're at as an older guy. Like, hey, we're gonna have to supplement. We're gonna have to put something back into it.
I think you hit the nail on the head, dude. Because I think if you can correct your testosterone levels without the need to get on TRT, that's probably the best thing to do. So that's awesome that Chalk came in hard on this. I'm gonna order some. I want to check it out. I want to see what it's all about. I'm gonna try it out myself and see how I like it. So really cool stuff. And a big thanks to Chalk for supporting, being the first sponsor here on our podcast coming back.
Absolutely.
As you know, guys, we've produced many LLP episodes, well over 100 episodes, and the podcast has done really well. And Matt and I sort of took a break, and many of you know that, obviously, and many people have been asking me to make more LLP episodes. So I'm really excited to get back in the saddle with this, and Matt and I go way back. He and I are battle brothers, so we've got a long history, and it's always fun to talk about a myriad of different things. So I'll recap a couple of things. We'll go back and look at a few things that we've done before. You guys might remember some of the flights that we've done, the Fight or Flight series, the Flight or Fight series. We would basically just do a flight of like different whiskeys, sometimes different peppers, different foods and things like that. So we'd like to kind of mix things up a little bit. You never know if you're going to see a special guest here. We will eventually start integrating some guests into the show. We'll have to see who can travel and get down. And I've actually been in the process of redoing the studio here and changing some things around. So you might see some different sets and everything that we're going to be building. And I want to do like a really bougie guest area where we have like a nice comfy couch and, snacks and, just have like a really great environment for a guest to come hang out and then we can, film together. So that's something that I hope we can all look forward to. And I really appreciate you guys who have supported LLP for all this time and have constantly called for us to bring back more episodes of LLP. I really do enjoy the long form podcast because we can just let loose and just talk about life, and it doesn't always have to be political. It doesn't always have to necessarily be gun related and things like that. So this is just a great way to be personal and talk about things. So Jiu-Jitsu Academy's doing well. You got an injury, you hurt your foot. You've got screws in your freaking foot now. Are you ever going to be able to compete again?
Yeah, man. I have plans to compete later in May. Hopefully, if I can get back into where I feel comfortable competing at a high level, I plan on doing. There's an international tournament out in Long Beach at the end of May. So if I feel comfortable, if I do well here at the Atlanta Open, I'm gonna probably go out to Long Beach and try my luck in the international tournament. As it goes farther into the year, the way jiu-jitsu works is you kind of have like two seasons. You have gi season, which is the first 6 months of the year, and then you have no gi season, which is the last 6 months. So they just did the Pan American Games, I think maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago down in Florida. And then you have Worlds that's coming up in August. And then now after Worlds, it switches to no gi. And then hopefully we can.
Now, what's the difference, gi and no gi? I'm uninitiated here. Just explain.
Gi, you're wearing your traditional like kimono. It looks like very similar to like a judo uniform. It's like you got the long little ninja pajamas on.
Okay, yeah, the ninja pajamas. Yes. I got you. Okay.
And for no-gi, it's very similar to like wrestling. So you're wearing like rash guard, shorts. You're not
like a singlet or something.
Not a single. Singles for wrestling. This is just like, it looks like a rash guard you'd wear at the beach, basically, like surfing type deal. And it's very similar to wrestling. You're not able to use any grips on the clothing. So everything is collar ties, wrist control. I prefer no-gi. I compete both gi and no-gi, but I prefer no-gi personally. And that seems to be a little bit more popular here in the U.S. But everywhere else, gi is probably more popular.
Wow, I didn't know that. I've been doing the powerlifting stuff. So I know a lot of folks that follow me, especially on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter, Iraq Veteran 8888, directly if you want. Also, we do have an LLP Twitter handle if you want to check it out, for Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit. We don't post a lot over there. Mainly, if you want to get some of my musings, just pop on over on Iraq Veteran. But I do post a lot about the powerlifting, which I've really been enjoying that a lot. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it because I've done a little bit of discussion in a few previous videos about it, so I won't spend a lot of time here. But it has been fun, and I do have SPF Worlds coming up in November, so we've kind of gone back down on the training regimen to back it back down and do support work and try to get my shoulder better, because I did have a little bit of a shoulder injury and everything like that. So I'm kind of working through a little bit of shoulder pain in my right shoulder, which I don't know is from nerves or if it's muscle fatigue, but my bench is not as good as it should be. Before I experienced this injury in my shoulder, I was close to pushing 315 pretty clean on the bench, but then we went in December and we were doing some heavy shrugs in the rack shrugs, and I think I had 405 pounds doing shrugs with 405, and I think that's what did it. It might have been a little bit too much weight to do shrugs. I mean, that's some heavy shrugs. And doing 315 pound bent over rows, that'll get your shoulder running.
It will, man, but it'll build them lats too.
Right. It does. So I think we might have overtrained the shoulder, but this last meet I squatted 525, I deadlifted 475, and I only benched like 185. That is what we call a token bench. So I'm working on getting the bench back up and getting the numbers up, and I'm hoping around November I want to squat hopefully around 600. I want to pull 550, and I want to push 3 plates. That's the goal.
Okay, so you're getting close to that 1,000 pounds.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, getting hopefully around 1,500 is, if I can do a 1,500 pound total as a 40-year-old guy, I'd be pretty happy.
Well, see, that's what it comes down to. Like, as you get older, you want to be able to continue to enjoy the things that you do, and that requires you to do certain things. You have to. So you can either have a choice of, hey, I can just sit here and rot and not be able to do the things that I really want to enjoy doing, or I can take initiative and do the things that I need to do in order to be happy and live a fulfilling life. Because when I think how I'm going to die, it's not going to be laying in a bed, wishing I would have, taken advantage of all the things that life has. I'm going to go out the way that I want to go out, and that's enjoying life, spending time with your family, spending time with your friends. And really for me, it's all about spending time with my daughter. So being able to travel and like go with her, she's a little 8-year-old wrestler, man. Like she just won AAU nationals up in Tennessee, like 2 weeks, actually I think it was Saturday. We went up to Tennessee. So being able to travel around to her wrestling competitions those are the things that I enjoy doing. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons that, over the last 2 years, we really had to kind of scale back on how busy I was, because I'm missing out on all these opportunities to spend with my daughter and my wife. And that's really what makes me happy, is being able to, go and see them compete, and having a family that competes. Like I compete a lot, or let me rephrase it, I did compete a lot until this accident. And it was amazing, man. Like my daughter, we're at the Jiu-Jitsu tournament, and my daughter's coaching me. My daughter is on the floor. She's like yelling at me, like watching her dad like win these tournaments, and she's like coaching and yelling. And then now she goes to a wrestling tournament, and I'm the one coaching her. And it's a great feeling, man, to be able to do that.
Oh man, I know it makes you so proud.
Oh yeah, I have a smile on my face so huge.
There's nothing a guy wants more than to be capable, be in shape, be able to take care of himself, look as good as he can look for his partner, take care of his kids, take care of his family, live your best life. And I don't have a problem with that at all. I think that, where I've been on my journey in the last, year or two, especially this fitness journey that I've been on, I've been a little obsessive about it. I work 2 hours a day in the gym, 4 days a week. So I do 8 hours in the gym a week, and I work hard. I mean, we do a lot of work, and, it's addictive. It gets to a point that I miss it. Like if I, on a day that I'm resting, like I know I'm going to rest on Wednesdays, I'm like, I feel like I want to go to the gym, I don't want to rest, so of course, the TRT does help with that. I am on TRT as well, just like you are, and I like it. I like the way I feel. I mean, not to beat a dead horse, but it's not bad. Overall, though, I do feel like with the working out aspect, I think it's something that every person should strive for. Everyone should, see the best version of themselves that they can be at least once in their life. And, what better time than in your golden years as you get older, if you can see the full measure of your physical physique. I feel like you have a better chance of getting like really yoked when you're in your 30s and 40s.
Yeah, you can't beat the natural. Let's not make any mistakes. Like if you're 20 or 30 and you have like 900 to 1,000 tests naturally, like you're fine. Like you can't out supplement that. Like that is like a natural test level that is just phenomenal. You're going to be able to go to the gym. You're going to be able to just get absolutely shredded. Yeah. The problem is when you are 30 or 40, you have like 300 tests. Like you're not going to get nothing out of that.
Yeah, I'm talking about just like the opportunity for a person to get like absolutely yoked. I mean, you look at some of these power lifters, you look at some of these bodybuilders and things. It's like they don't really get like into their prime until they're like in their 40s, and early 50s, and then they start to like, wow, like that physique is perfect, that lift is perfect. Like, wow, they're strong as they've ever been. So it's like this is an exciting time in a person's life when you're in your late 30s, early 40s. If you do want to make a change, if you do want to, get in the gym and have a go, especially if you didn't do it younger in life. I never really did a lot in the gym ever when I was younger. I was just kind of a scrawny, nerdy kid. I never really did a lot. Even in the military.
I remember.
A very ripped guy. Like I was just, I was kind of scrawny. I mean, I was capable. I could do my thing, but I wasn't like, you wouldn't picture a guy like me being in the infantry. I was pretty tiny, But now though, it's just really interesting to see that, you can definitely take that physical fitness to a new level, which I think is very important. So I'm glad to hear that the Jiu-Jitsu Academy is doing well. And, you know what I've been doing with the powerlifting. I've been working a lot on the house, doing some improvements.
I know every time I call you, you're working on the house.
I know, man. I know. I've been doing a lot of work, and things have been really good. I'm very blessed. I have a wonderful partner that I love very much, and she treats me really great. And dude, it's been going so well.
That's what it's about, man.
Yeah. Yes. Sweet girl. She's great. And she and I have been doing a lot of fun things together, going on trips, going places.
Enjoying life. Yeah. And I mean, just to kind of
playing with the dogs.
To go back to what you were saying about TRT, and I know this whole episode isn't about TRT.
No.
However, I think it's very important that people understand, like, there is a divide. There's people that they're like, hey, you shouldn't do TRT. Like, but why? Why not?
Right.
Like the real question, why not? You're 40, 50 years old, and it's going to allow me to enjoy my life significantly more than if I didn't do it. And what's the harm? It's a victimless, like if people are like, oh, it's not natural, like who cares? Like the epitome of freedom. I can do what I want. Like it's me. It's my body.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That's it, man. Like why not?
What's wrong with pursuing happiness? I mean, as long as you understand the risks and you understand what goes into it and you understand all of the underlying implications, well then that's up to you to decide whether or not it's for you. And I, for one, I really enjoy the idea of medical science. I mean, well-studied, well-backed, well-funded, well-researched science that, look, we have so much at our fingertips that people didn't have in the 50s and 40s and, back in the day, the golden era of powerlifting and bodybuilding. People didn't have all the supplementation. And yeah, sure, you had some really, yoked natural lifters. But man, it's exciting to know that, even people who are having some issues with, let's just say, their testosterone, that they can still experience good gains in the gym and a healthy male lifestyle. And hey, what's wrong with that? Anyway, so we'll move on a little bit. And I tell you, a lot has happened since you and I have made a podcast. And I know that, in some previous episodes, we've talked about a variety of different subjects. For those of you who are just tuning back in and maybe you haven't tuned into an episode in a while, or if you've never heard of LLP, We have done a variety of different things. As I mentioned before, we did the Fight or Flight series. But also we've done talks about prepping and talks about, different firearms and all sorts of gun stuff as well. So, at our core, we love guns, and we've talked about a variety of different subjects, some political subjects, subjects of war, foreign affairs, world events, and things like that. So a lot has happened. Okay, in the last year or two. I mean, we haven't even really spoken that much. I know you and I will occasionally text each other, hey, how's life? But not a deep conversation like this where we're really diving into what's really going on. And when I say what's really going on, how are you feeling about the world? How are you feeling about society? How are you feeling about how things are going, the direction of the country? We just had this crazy election. I mean, we know
yes.
President now. You and I have not even had a discussion since Trump was elected. So spill the beans. How do you feel right now about it all?
I'm happy with everything. I never had any issues. I know that, this goes back to like when we did the podcast like 2 years ago. I told you that I liked Tulsi Gabbard. All right. And I know that was like a point of contention with some people. And this was when she had just started kind of turning more into like the Second Amendment, and she was going to shooting ranges, and she was professing her love for the Second Amendment in general. She kind of went back to like why she feels the way she did, why she kind of turned her back on the Democratic Party. And, I never had a problem with her after she did that. People were like, oh, you can't trust her. Like, if that was the case, you never trust anybody, because the whole point of changing someone's mind, if you change their mind and then you say, well, okay, I managed to change your mind, but I don't trust you. Like, what was the point of that?
Someone must be willing to accept new information, process that information, and potentially have a change of heart.
Exactly.
Is that to say that Tulsi Gabbard has had a change of heart about the Second Amendment? I mean, one would certainly think so, based on a lot of the things that she's talked about and some of her, stances. And we know, now that she has a position in Trump's cabinet along with Kennedy. So, I think he's great too. I know that during the election, there's always going to be this mudslinging fest that occurs during an election, and they're always going to, even people who after the election, they're going to be kind of buddy beforehand. It's like there's still this competition of ideas and this competition of literal consequence of elections, right? And RFK ran against Trump, and early on, he dropped out, of course, and supported Trump. But at first, though, he was running against Trump. So was Vivek. There was a lot of people that were running that were kind of like, they were good, but not Trump. Like, they weren't as good as Trump. Right. And Vivek, I do feel like he was a good candidate. He's a very well-spoken guy. He's very intelligent. I do think he's a very smart guy. And I think he has a lot of good forward-thinking ideas, and that are not progressive in nature, but really more conservative in nature, but still progressive, if that makes sense.
No, it does.
And I think that there is a fine line between, being a progressive and being a conservative. You want society to progress in a way that is, going to look out for the best interests of a collective society, to the truest form that you possibly can, and be as fair and equitable as possible. But you also never want to completely abolish or do away with the institutions that make your country what it is, right? And conservatism at its core is really all about respecting the past and acknowledging the past, but also understanding where we came from, how we got here, who built this country, what principles it was founded on. And we really have to ask ourselves, what do we really want to accomplish as a country? Vivek, right. It's not that Vivek wasn't a good candidate. It's just that he wasn't Trump. Right. And you're right there. You took the words right out of my mouth, in that Trump is a larger than life force. And many people know from following me over the years that, I have not always agreed with Donald Trump on everything. Trump and I have not always agreed and saw eye to eye. Many people consider Trump to be a closet Democrat, or maybe even blatantly a Democrat who runs as a Republican. And you know what? I'm willing to say that's all right, honestly, because I look at a person's actions. I look at what they do. I look at where their heart is at. I look at the consequences of everything. I look at the way they represent the country. I look at the bravado and bravery that they apply to their, the standards that they have. Like, do they represent me as an American? If I was sitting in the room, would I have a moment? Would I go, wow, that guy really just said something that resonated with me? Or he did something that resonated with me. Okay. It's like the way to look at a president in a way is and don't take this the wrong way. I'm not saying Trump's daddy, but you almost have to look at like a family unit, right? Like, okay, if the father in the family is going to be a good father, he's going to occasionally have to do some things that are going to make the family unit a little bit distressed here and there, right? Like the kid may go to mom and go, well, daddy took away my iPad because I was acting up. Can I have it back? Well, and the mom's going to say, well, I'm not going to give you your iPad back because your dad took it, right? So I'm not suggesting that that people are like infantile, like children, have to be treated like children, but it's almost like when you have such a high power like that, someone like a president, it doesn't matter what decisions you make or how well-intentioned your decisions are going to be, you're going to upset somebody. Someone somewhere in the mix is not going to be happy with what you have to say or what your actions are. So, and when I say that I disagree with Donald Trump on a lot of things, that doesn't necessarily mean that I don't respect him as a person or respect him as the president or think that he's doing a fantastic job, because he is. I think he's doing a fantastic job.
I agree.
It simply means that I'm a nuanced person who can individually pick apart certain instances and go, hey, I can disagree with you on this one little area, like such as the bump stock ban or his position on some of his 2A positions, which have been lukewarm to me personally. Some of his statements have been lukewarm and fallen on a lukewarm place in my heart. It's okay for me to acknowledge that that exists, but still think that he is a fantastic guy, a brave guy who represents my values, even if he's a self-proclaimed Democrat, even if he is a closet Democrat. That's okay. Kennedy was a Democrat, right? And he was a very well-respected Democrat. Everyone loved John Kennedy.
That's right.
All right. What did John Kennedy want to do? All right. All these Kennedy papers just got released. Let's talk about, have you been reading up on that?
No, I haven't had time to sit there and read through all.
Well, I don't think anyone has. There's a lot of documentation, but look what happened to Kennedy. Kennedy was trying to blow the entire lid off of this banking cabal and this, world government and this, this sort of underhanded crap that's been going on in our country. He was going to blow the lid off of it and shut it all down. And what happened?
Took him out. And that they already...
And he was a Democrat.
Yeah, they already said that there was some ties to some inside job there.
Well, and there's talks of Mossad. There's talks of CIA. There's talks of dark money. There's talks of slush money. I mean, there's talks of all sorts of nefarious things. And if it's one thing our country has always been in the business of, Matt, is regime change.
Oh, yeah. Not just with our country, but with other countries. Like even...
Oh, we love to meddle in other countries. Yeah.
Absolutely. We're like, hey, we're going to... But you know what? It never works out. Every single time we put our hands in the cookie jar, it's come back to bite us, man.
Yeah. Look at the Bay of Pigs.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Bay of Pigs. You had Saddam. You had all of the Middle East, the whole Egypt and the what is it? The Brotherhood, whatever that was. I was like, every single time that we meddled in there for thinking that we were going to do something good, came back to bite us.
You know what really gets me, man, is we had such a great relationship with Iran in the 70s. It's like, what happened? We completely screwed that up. I was going to drop the F-bomb, but I didn't want to. We completely screwed that up. I mean, we had such a great relationship with Iran. They were very westernized. They were very forward thinking. They were very progressive, which, for a country like Iran, I mean, believe me, you had women walking around wearing Western clothes, acting, going to clubs. It's like, wow, what is this? We had a great relationship.
Well, think about how much of a relationship we have with a country that we sell them, or we don't sell them. We allow the sale of one of your best naval fighter jets, which was like the F-14 Tomcat at the time. They were the only country to receive that technology. They were able to purchase that technology, and that was the sole reason that America stopped producing that, and they deadlined all of their F-14s was because they didn't want Iran to get spare parts for their existing jets. That's never happened. We sell F-16s like to other countries, but
well, we got so many planes that'll smoke F-16 now.
But like the F-14 at the time, revolutionary, biggest, baddest, baddest. And they were like, oh yes, please, Iran, you're allowed to buy these. And then we dropped the ball and we're like, deadline all the aircraft.
I like to be a fly on the wall to just know how those conversations go. Like, when does diplomacy dissolve to nothing? Like, at what point does diplomacy just go out the window and it's like, well, we were friends, now we're not? Right. Imagine how scary that is as a world leader to think. Imagine how incompetent Biden was. That's a whole nother discussion. He was not presidential. He was not there, definitely experiencing, I don't know, Alzheimer's or no telling what sort of, cognitive, degeneration in his brain or whatever. You get older, you begin to lose your marbles a little bit. And I'm not saying the guy, is a bad person or whatever. Some would say he's a bad person, but I'm just trying to be objective here and just say that, the man definitely was unfit to serve.
I can objectively say that through my entire life on this planet, that was probably the worst 4 years that I've ever experienced. Like, it was very, very bad. Like, it was.
Imagine being a world leader and you're meeting with that Magoo guy. He's just such a Magoo. Like, he's just like Weekend at Bernie's. Like, they've got him propped up on no telling what kind of meds and handlers. And it's like, you're going to have a discussion about the wherewithal of the power of the world, the struggle of the world power. And he is your person that you're sending to have that discussion. Like, imagine how crappy a hands you're in at that point. And then imagine going from that to Trump.
So to touch on that, I just remember when they had the Easter, like the little Easter celebration, they had one of his handlers in that pink bunny suit, and the pink bunny suit guy was like walking Biden around to make sure he didn't wander off. I was like, that's crazy. But to go from that to Trump, and just real quick, the reason that I like Trump is because he treats people like, if you do something wrong, he'll tell you. Like, when he was meeting with Zelensky, he was like, you never said thank you. $140 billion. You never even said thank you. And the next thing you know, the next day, he comes out and he gives like a public thank you for like, hey, thanks for giving us so much. All you had to do was ask. But the whole time they were just giving these people money, never even asked for anything. No thank you, nothing. That's our money, man. That's money that the Americans have given to the government.
And a lot of that money was being filtered all the way back through PACs and everything.
Half of it is unaccounted for. So I'm like, where did all this go?
Oh, we know where it went. It went right back here into some pockets.
Something Bugatti Veyron. I don't know. But I mean, so, and look at the cabinet people that he put in place, man. Like, this is like the biggest, and that's what I appreciate. He goes, hey, we're going to put Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Tulsi Gabbard. Like, he's putting the people that were spited for the entire last presidency. He's like, well, these are the people that you guys kind of bent over. We're going to put them in charge. Yeah. And then now they get to go through and find out everything. Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of Pam Bondi so far. It's been kind of lukewarm with her.
You notice I left her out. I'm not a huge fan of that.
Yeah, it's been a little lukewarm with her. I mean, I'm really hoping that we're going to see some indictments, we're going to see some arrests, but I don't know.
That was a whole dog and pony show about we're going to release the files, and then it's like, we already know this stuff. This whole binder is stuff that was already published.
Let's talk about that a little bit. But before we do, I do want to give a quick thanks to another sponsor for our show here today. Listen up. If you're serious about improving your shooting skills, saving money on ammo, and training anytime, anywhere, then you need to check out Strikeman. This is the real deal for dry fire training. The problem is, look, we all know ammo prices aren't getting any cheaper, and hitting the range as often as we'd like just isn't always practical. Whether it's time, money, or just finding a good spot to train, it can be a hassle. But what if you could get in real practice reps from the comfort of your own home? The solution is Strikeman. And we've done a lot of videos on the Strikeman stuff, y'all. It's really good. And check out my YouTube demo videos if you want. But that's where Strikeman comes in. It's a dry fire training system that lets you train with your actual firearm. No live ammunition needed. Their laser cartridges drop right into your firearms chamber, and every shot is tracked in real time through their app. You get instant feedback on accuracy, shot placement, and reaction time. It's an absolute game changer for anyone looking to tighten up their skills, whether you're a first-time gun owner or an experienced shooter. Check this out. Strikeman offers full training kits with everything you need, including targets, phone mounts, and their precision laser cartridges. If you're a revolver guy, they even have a 6-pack of the 38 Special 357 Magnum laser cartridges. So you can fully load your wheel gun and get that continuous trigger pull practice. Plus, there's no subscription fees. Their app is totally free to use. Train whenever and however you want to. Now, here's the best part. Because you're part of the IV8888 LLP family, Strikeman is giving you 20% off of your order. Just head over to strikeman.com and use the promo code IV8888 at checkout to claim your discount. That's 20% off. No gimmicks, no nonsense, just a great deal to help you train smarter and save big on ammo. Get yourself a Strikeman system today and take your shooting skills to the next level. Again, that's strikeman.com and use the promo code IV8888 for 20% off. Train hard, shoot straight, and as always, stay free. Awesome. Thanks very much, y'all, for the support, and we really do appreciate y'all supporting the show and trusting us getting back into this. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to cutting more LLP, and I really appreciate you guys being a part of what we do. And I would encourage all of you to go and support those guys who support us. And thank you guys very much for supporting the show.
Absolutely.
Let's get back to it. So Epstein, all right. There's all this talk right now and everything going on with how Pam Bondi withheld, let's just say, the juicy details of the Epstein file due to concerns for national security.
So that was the big thing. It was like, it's like, what is, yeah, like, if you are going to put out the information, that you might as well have just put out all the information and redacted it. There would have been no difference between what you did by saying, hey, we can't put out this information because it's bad for national security. Mm-hmm. You could just put it out and just redact it. You would have had the same effect. People would have been like, why is all this redacted? But now you're just,
but at least they'd have it.
But now they're still not going to put it out.
Yeah. Redact the names, do something, protect the identities of the accused or whatever.
I'm not going to hold my breath that anything else is going to come out of that, because that well is very, very deep.
Well, I think, and this isn't just what I think. I've also, done some research and been, reading a lot, and opinions on the internet are what they are. Everyone's got an opinion. And there's a right opinion, there's a wrong opinion, and then there's something in between where maybe the truth is somewhere in there, right? But you can't help but think that the whole Epstein drama was just a honeypot operation. That, they were saying that Epstein was Mossad, okay, working for the Israelis, and that he was trying to basically run this honeypot operation to get damning evidence against world leaders of the P word. Okay, I'm not going to go there, but let's just say child abuse, for a better lack of a term.
Which happens to be the number one thing that they always use, right, because it's very, very unequivocally damning.
Yeah, and taboo. I mean, there are very few places in the Western moral society where that type of behavior is going to be tolerated. So they know if they can peg you for abusing children, they've got you. And if they've got you and they've got you made, they've conducted this honeypot operation, then that means that Jeffrey Epstein owns you, and whatever he tells you to do, you're going to do, or he's going to use the evidence that he has against you. And what do you think where is he getting his marching orders? Well, if he's Mossad, well, then Israel's giving him those marching orders. And I think that there's been, to kind of go back to the JFK files getting released and, people finally getting some closure on what happened to Kennedy. There are some pundits within the industry that have said, well, that was back in the 60s and we shouldn't be worried about something that happened so long ago. Come on. No, you're just saying that because the people that are involved in it are your people and you don't want to, say anything negative about, Israel. And that's really what it all comes down to. Now, I'm not going to go there, but, it begins to paint a picture that, over time, it ends up being like the same people.
It's always the same people.
It's always the same people.
It's always the same.
And I mean, at what point do you have to eventually call that what it is? You can't ignore that for much longer. You have to eventually go, well, wow, like, okay, this regime was toppled. This is who was involved. This president was assassinated. This was who was involved. The jury's out on all this stuff. Oh, this huge ring of child abusers, and Mossad was involved. Oh, these people were involved. Well, after a while, you kind of start to think, well, damn, every bad thing going on, these people were involved with somehow. And you kind of think, well, man, they got their hand in many a dirty pot. And that kind of makes me wonder about who these people really are and what their intentions are.
Well, what it comes down to is if you look at all of the people that are running the government per se, that's the reason that Trump was such a disruption, because look at like Israel had Netanyahu. The guy's been there forever, man. Like I can't remember the guy before him because he's been there so long. Yeah. But look at the U.S. government. Trump, that wasn't supposed to happen, man. Like that was not supposed to happen. That was a complete wrench in the system.
Well, Trump really does support Israel, though. He's an ally to Israel.
He did. He moved the what is that thing called? The
Overton window.
No. He moved the diplomatic office from I guess somewhere to Jerusalem, which was like a big deal. Like they moved the whole thing. But when you look at it, so look at all the presidents before that. The only other president that was new to the game was Obama. So Obama was like a first-term senator, that got the presidency. Cool. Everything else before that, they were lifers. They had been in government. They were like Biden, senator since.
Oh, look at Biden. 50 plus years in government.
Bush, they're some form of government. They had been suckling off the government's teat for, their entire life. And then you have two guys that come in and just completely turn it upside down. Obama turned it upside down. First year senator. Trump comes in, one term, then he comes back for that. I don't think that's ever happened, actually.
And they just knew that Hillary was going to win in 2016. That's what's so crazy about it. Like Fox was showing the polling numbers at like 97%. Oh, Hillary Clinton's polling 97%. It's going to be an overwhelming victory for Hillary Clinton. Like they had it pegged for her. It's like the media was literally pulling cover for her. And what a disappointment when
they did the same thing for Biden. It was like the wildest thing. They're like, oh, he's polling so high and this, like, he's gonna blow it out. It was literally the complete opposite. It was like I've never seen numbers that low.
It's like they actually had the receipts to back it up that time, in 2020. So anyway, we're not going to necessarily get into the wherewithal of 2020, but let's just say there was a huge disappointment. But now, fast forward to where we are now, and yes, it's been a very eventful couple of years, and I have hope that things are going to get better. Yes, are there things that I disagree with Trump on? Obviously there are. I mean, and I feel like if you have a friend, or if you have an acquaintance, or just anyone that you do business with, or if you just someone in your life, someone you have a relationship with, it could be a spouse, a partner, it could be anyone, right? You're going to have some inevitable disagreement about something. And I think if you're not honest with yourself in that, if you can't go, okay, well, there's one little tiny hiccup here and let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. Let's have some discourse about it. And then let's see if we can change our minds on it. I mean, I think that's what the apex of being an adult is the ability to change your mind with the, addition of new information and everything like that. So, I'm trying my best to keep an open mind about Trump. I do think he's a good person. I think he's trying to do the right thing. I mean, the guy could be on a golf course right now, but instead he's taking the most stressful office the country has to offer. I mean, being president's a stressful damn job. It's not an easy thing, Well, I mean, Biden took 200 vacation days or something. Yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother bag of apples. But when taken for face value at its full potential, being the president's not easy. You're on call 24/7. I mean, you were basically the leader of the free world in a lot of ways. Like, everything that goes on geopolitically in the entire planet is going to cross your desk. If something happens, you're going to know. And you may have to respond.
And everything you do, every response, every action, there's going to be a reaction, whether it's adverse or beneficial. That's a very, very tough way to live the next 4 years of your life. To know that, like, everything that you do is going to be scrutinized. Everything that you do is going to have a reaction to another country. Like, you do one thing and somebody says, "Oh, you were talking bad about, this, we're going to put tariffs," or, why are you playing so much golf? Why are you spending time with your family? Why are you not, getting these briefings?
And because you're a Republican, the media, of course, is going to freaking paint you with the worst light possible. They're going to be very unfair to you when you're a Republican, Of course, the media plays cover for the Democrats, which we know. From a lot of information that's been put out. Like, I mean, especially when we look at the whole Facebook debacle and Zuckerberg going before Congress. And, now we know that, intelligence agencies or law enforcement agencies actually went to companies like Facebook and, pressured them to censor people. So when you look at it under that light, you realize that the entire media complex is really just a disinformation propaganda complex that's controlled by the Democrats. And when you look at you follow the money and you see where all the money goes, all this slush money is sort of going out to these projects, and they're getting sent out through PACs, and they're, essentially sort of laundering the money to their buddies to, I mean, gosh, I think when Doge was looking, we haven't even talked about Doge. We might have to save that for the next episode. We're going to talk about Doge in the next episode. Stay tuned for next week, y'all. Okay, we post every week here on LLP, so there's more. However, when you look at what Doge has been uncovering, which I agree with what they're doing, of course, they saw that there were some like millions of dollars worth of subscriptions to the New York Times.
Yes, I saw the premium subscriptions. Yes.
And it's like, well, why do they have all these subscriptions? So what you learn is that's essentially a way they can launder money to the New York Times. Is, oh, well, we're giving them millions of dollars worth of subscriptions, taxpayer money, or wherever it's coming from, PACs or whatever, however they have to wash it. But when you look at it under that guise, what do you think the New York Times is going to report? Are they going to report what the truth, what people need to hear? Or are they going to report what their Democrat handler who just sent them that fat check for the subscriptions for the year wants them to report? You better believe they're going to have some editorial control over the content when they're pumping millions of dollars into that company. And dare I say, propping up the company by doing so.
No, it's true. And half of what you're reading in those, newspapers per se, is not editorials. They're additorials. It's literally an ad disguised as whatever. And it's an ad for the Democratic Party or an ad for a certain PAC. It's just insane. And it's getting harder and harder to discern what is what. And the one thing, I'm glad you brought up Zuck. The one thing that I noticed was the complete change of his demeanor, of his attitude, of the way he looks when he first went on Rogan, and it was the Biden-Harris administration, and they were talking about, the whole like, hey, we're censoring what was on Facebook. He looked like a hostage. He's like very robotic. He looked like he was made of wax. It was like those, hey, blink twice if you're in distress. He, like, no facial expressions, very, very scared. He looked scared, like genuinely scared. Fast forward to him going back under a completely different administration. Dude looks like a surfer. He's like hang out, hang 10. He's like very open with what he did. Like, this is what they told me to do. This is why they told me to do it. And I'm like, this is a complete 180 from from one administration to another. And it just goes to show you the power that these administrations have over these social media companies. They can really kind of control what they want. And what kind of power do you have to make somebody like freeze up like that? He's just like, oh, I can't.
I know. That's wild. And I'll tell you, what Zuckerberg could use is some tactical underbritches. All right. So that leads us to our next sponsor. We're going to go ahead and give a chat about Undertac.com. And we have some tactical underbritches here that we're going to be checking out. So I'm going to tell you what. Why don't you show them off while I talk?
All right.
How about that? Here, you got some underbritches. Now, we haven't opened these up, y'all. One is recon and one is infantry. So he's thinking that the recon's going to be like little whitey.
Yeah, they're going to be like the white.
Okay, you ready? Here. All right. So I'll read and you be my Vanna White over.
All right.
When it comes to gear that can handle anything, there's no better choice than Undertac. Ding. Designed for and tested by an elite special forces team in Africa's harshest conditions, Undertac is made to perform when it matters most. Whether you're navigating tough terrain or just tackling your day, their underwear, socks, and shirts, damn, son, they keep you dry, comfortable, and mission ready. Gosh. Made from premium materials like modal, 50% more moisture wicking than cotton, Undertac offers tactical performance that goes beyond the basics. From the ultra-comfortable boxer briefs to the American-made battle weave merino socks. You get the socks right there, Matt? Yes, sir. You'll feel the difference. And don't forget the hoodies and EDC t-shirts. Rugged enough for anything, yet comfortable enough for everyday carry or for every day. Go to Undertac.com. That's Undertac.com and use LLP20 for a 20% off site-wide. Whether you're gearing up for adventure or everyday life, you can trust Undertac to have your back and your bottom. Plus, a portion of profits support veterans-run organizations fighting human trafficking. Now that's a no-brainer. Visit Undertac.com, use the code LLP20 and get yourself 20% off site-wide. Again, LLP20, you get 20% off. Go get yourself some underbritches.
Bro, these are nice, man.
Damn, son, let me see one of them.
So I was completely wrong.
Man.
The infantry are actually a little bit shorter.
Are they?
Are a little bit longer.
Yeah, I want the short ones. Man, those are nice.
But they're super soft, man.
Bro. They even say infantry on them. Look, I can have breeches that say infantry.
Dude, they have like a little pouch in the front. I wonder what you're gonna put in there.
Oh, wow. Okay. Nice. I'm liking that.
Dude, the socks are straight too. Those are really soft. Wool? Yeah. Okay. Like a merino wool blend.
I mean, what infantryman doesn't need socks and underwear? I mean, now come on.
The basis of your entire existence.
I mean, that right there, that's everything a grown boy needs. Well, maybe Zuck could get him some Undertac. You know, it is strange when you look at the way these people act. They don't act like real people. They act very robotic, and I always thought that's strange. You know, you look at the way things are going,
but he didn't look like a robot on the second one. That was the weird thing. He looked like his skin was a different color. Like he was actually like a human. The first one, he was like a robot, man. I was like,
you know, I feel like this conversation is going to kind of end up flowing into episode 2. You know, we are back, y'all. Dude, we're doing LLP now once a week. So you're going to see a new episode. I think we're going to release on Fridays, although I believe this first episode's going up on April 1st. And I promise this is not an April Fool's joke. Not an April Fool's joke. We are back, y'all. And I'm very excited to see where LLP is going to go. And, you know, it's been great to catch up with Matt, but we have much more catching up to do. So I hope that you'll tune in next week for our next episode. We're going to discuss probably more of the same, but we'll get into some gun stuff too. There's some things I want to talk about that's been going on in the 2A world. As you know, at heart, you know, we obviously are a gun channel here on Iraq Veteran 8888, which is probably where many of you are consuming this particular podcast. Matt, you had mentioned that there's a forum where people can submit questions.
So yes, we're going to have a link at the top of the description underneath all of our episodes. So you guys can click on that link and send us messages and questions, and we're going to take our time. We're going to answer some of those questions on every podcast. So that way, and it can be questions about anything, because the podcasts are about everything. It's not anything specific. Like Eric said, we are a gun channel at heart, but a lot of these long format conversations have a way of deviating into the more everyday life. Sure. So whatever questions you guys have, we're happy to answer them.
Yeah. So I do have a bunch of questions. I went on Twitter earlier. I just wanted to acknowledge you folks that submitted some questions. I really appreciate y'all doing that. I will answer, Matt and I will both answer some of these questions in the next episode next week. So make sure you tune in next week and we'll hit a Q&A session. I wasn't able to hit the Q&A session up for this particular episode, but I'm glad that we were able to just stick to chewing the fat. That's what LLP is about. It's about life. It's about, us just doing our thing. And I really enjoyed this first episode. It was so great to get back, and we have so much cool stuff in store. And also, if you do go through the questionnaire and send us some comments, let us know. Are there some guests that you would like to see on here? Give us some episode ideas, or there's some things you'd like us, some topics to discuss and cover in a long format. Let us know, and we'll definitely try to jump into it. We'll take your suggestions to heart, and of course, ask any questions you want, or just give a comment. Whatever. Are you liking the show? Do you like the format? How's the lighting? How's the audio? How's Lisa's editing? Look, guys, Matt's wife, Lisa, is doing the editing, so a big shout out to her. She's helping us edit the show, and she is a battle axe, and I know she can do it, and I know it's going to be fantastic. So thank you, Lisa. And I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to what we're going to be able to come up with. And let me know if you guys have any questions or whatever, or if you're on YouTube, feel free to drop into the comment section and let us know what you're thinking. Did you enjoy the show? Do you like the format? Do you like the long form format? Do you like, tell me what you like, what you don't like. Give me your feedback, and we'll take it to heart. We'll integrate it into the show. I do just some housekeeping. I am going to upgrade some of the lighting. I'm happy with the mics. These Sures are great. This is the same ones Rogan uses, and they're great. And but overall, I feel like audio is pretty good on these shows and everything. But just from a housekeeping standpoint, I am wanting to do some upgrades in the studio. So I know we had discussed some ceiling lighting. So we'll see. We're gonna bougie it up, y'all. So we'll have fun with it. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's episode of LLP. Thank you all so very much for supporting what we do. And a big thanks again to our sponsors today for taking care of us and allowing us to have the resources to record these episodes for y'all. And Matt, anything before we go?
No, I'm just happy to be back. I know there's going to be a lot of happy people. I get messages. There's been people that have messaged me and said, hey, why are there no shows? Like, where are they at? So as soon as this thing goes live, they're going to get that alert. So if you guys aren't already subscribe either on YouTube. If you want audio only, I know a ton of you guys listen while you're at work. So you guys can hit subscribe on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Listen to the audio only format as well. But that's mainly where we get the questions. Guys are like, hey, I need something to listen to at work. I need something to listen to on the way to work, or I'm driving a truck. Absolutely. So guys, at our height 2 years ago, we were in 140 countries. We were being listened to in every single state in the U.S. It was amazing. So thank you so much, guys. We were doing really well.
Yeah, and those of you that are out there, hitting the daily grind, you're out there driving to work, you're driving home from work, you got a long commute, you're in your car a lot, you're listening to the radio, just keep hammering it out, keep on keeping on, like you guys are rocking it. And I know, that it's hard sometimes. Life can be hard. And, my grandpa was a truck driver. He was on the road a lot. And I know there was a lot of times we missed having him around. And, so just know if you're one of the people, you're commuting, you're working hard, you're out on the road, the country's pulling for you. It takes a lot of people to make this machine operate, and appreciate you being a part of that. Thank you so much. Many more on the way. We'll see you guys next week. LLP, we're out.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Life, Liberty, and Pursuit. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else podcasts are found. Be sure to leave us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate that. You can support us over on Ballistic Inc. by picking yourself up some merch. And remember, guys, danger is freedom. Have a good one.